Good morning, Kubota crew. Welcome back. Hopefully y'all are doing well today. We're back in it again for another Thursday here on the live stream. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Looks like we got a few people in the chat. So good morning to everybody. Good morning, Spirit Maker. Good morning, Dawson. Looks like you just popped into the chat. So thanks for joining. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Didn't end up getting our trade yesterday. It actually ended up kind of falling off that high that we had yesterday. So we kind of started to get a little bit of a run up here. And then kind of double topped there like we were talking about on the live stream, ended up falling down. Never came back up, never broke through our levels. These are actually today's levels, but looking at yesterday's levels, this is what we were looking at. So you can see we kind of broke up here, and this is also the hour. There we go. Broke up before the 845 candle. 845 candle, we started at pretty close to the top, and then we ended up dropping all the way down below our 30-minute range. Set our predator lines, and then we kind of just traded out sideways the rest of the day. Never ended up coming back up anywhere close to our breakout range again. We were kind of watching it throughout the day, but that definitely was more of a double top here, and so we kind of just fell off of that and traded sideways throughout the day. Held that 70,500-ish line that we were talking about pretty well. It was actually pretty close to this bottom zone here on the breakdown range. So we held it pretty good throughout the day, and it's looking pretty nice in terms of getting some sort of move to the upside, hopefully soon. Today is actually looking pretty good for that move, I guess. We're looking, in terms of BTC, actually it's not looking that great, but in terms of the other Solana and Ethereum, the other two charts we typically trade, those are looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and run through and set up the three charts and get everything ready, so we can kind of see what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and delete our trade from yesterday that we were looking at, and we can go ahead and set up our stuff for today. So we'll head on over to Kubota.com. If you guys never checked it out, this is what it looks like. There should be a link in the description for Kubota.com, but you can you can also just search it on your browser. It's just kabroda.com. Once you look that up, you'll get taken to our homepage, and then you'll have to sign in and make an account if you'd like to use our stuff. But this here is our market radar, so this is the main thing on Kubota.com. We also have our operator suite, which is similar. You can do a few more coins and stuff in the operator suite, but this is just a little nicer laid out. That's how we use the radar. But we have those, and then we also have all of our indicators on the website as well, and a couple other things. So if you guys would like to check us out, just go ahead and look up Kubota.com, check out, run through our site, see what you think, let us know. But yeah, this is our market radar. So this is essentially our system telling you what trades are going to be most probable today. So we're looking at a Solana long, we're looking at an Ethereum long, nothing on BTC today. There is there's nothing for short on either Solana or Ethereum, so looking pretty good in terms of having an up run on both of those. BTC is too small of a gap today for a long, so we're looking at really nothing on BTC technically. Knowing that these two are going to go up, I guess you could be a little more advanced, maybe take a BTC trade, but in terms of waiting and looking for a nice trade, we're looking at either a Solana or Ethereum trade today. We're going to go ahead and set up BTC though, just so we have it kind of set up and ready to go, and we can see what's going on. So we'll go ahead and copy our data there and head back to our trading view here and open up our indicator. So today, like I said, it's Thursday, so go ahead and paste the new levels in there. If you get the indicator from our website, it's going to look a little different than this, a little older. So basically it just won't have as many crazy Monday through Sunday lines. All you'll have is one of these boxes, and you can just fill it in with the new levels for the day. Mostly we just have those for one, we're kind of beta testing, seeing how the lines kind of interact, you know, when it's not, maybe see how Wednesday's lines line up with Thursdays and stuff like that. But then also it just makes it easier for us on the live streams and stuff like that to kind of go back and be like, hey, look at, this is what today did and this is what happened here, and oh, if we're going to look at Monday, this is what happened, that kind of thing. So that's why ours looks a little different, but you can go ahead and use yours. It'll be just the same, work just as good. So these are our levels for today, though. We got our high, or our daily resistance here in this dashed red line. It's only 0.17 gap between that and our breakout trigger here in green, and that's typically what you use to determine how good the trade is basically today. So not much of an upside potential here, just as far as our system goes. There's not enough gap there to actually take anything good. Same thing actually for the downside, but you got your purple line here is the breakdown trigger, and then in the blue dashed, that's going to be our daily support. And if you do the gap there, it's also too small for a trade, so not looking for anything to that side either. So really BTC kind of just stagnant today. There's no good trades really called out in terms of which one are you going to take, you know. So mostly we're just looking at altcoins today, really. But we can go ahead and set up the other charts. So we'll go ahead and open up our Solana here, and we'll set up that one next. So these levels are pretty old. Haven't really looked at Solana too much in the last couple weeks. It's just been not too great in terms of trading when the market's kind of been slow like this. I think we maybe had one week or two ago. So these are probably pretty old levels, honestly. We're gonna go ahead and switch them out though. So we'll open up our settings. We're gonna go back to Kuroda.com and we'll grab the data here on our Solana. So we'll grab the data, head back to trade view, and we'll paste it in there. All right. Did not change. Oh yeah, it did. Wow, that's a pretty big gap. Actually, that's really big gap. So we have our daily resistance up here in the red dashed line. Down here in green is our breakout trigger, and then you can see the blue and purple right there pretty much on top of each other. That's going to be our breakdown trigger, and then also our dashed line is going to be our daily resistance. Not sure why the colors are flipped. It could be it actually might be purple with blue dashed line on top of it, but I don't know, my eyes are messed up. I guess all I can see is purple dashed line on top of the blue line. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. Basically, they're on top of each other, so gap is nothing. You don't have to worry about that. Oops. So not something we're interested in on the downside. Hoping we're going to break here to the upside, continue up there, and then if we get that up trade there, we'd be targeting this red dash line. So we've been looking for pretty decent trade to the upside. If we go back to Kubota.com, we can go ahead and grab our trade. So we'll open up our cockpit here, click on lock target, open up your cockpit, grab the copy long key thing there, and then we'll head back here and input it into our other indicator. Boom. Just like that, and this is going to be the trade for today. So almost to target 3, what I would be targeting. So this is going to be the trade here, so we'll take it there. We got our stop below this line here. Obviously we're not ready to take it yet in terms of price action, but we'd be taking it something like that. I would be pulling it probably around there, just to be, you know, safe. You could pull it at 2. Typically these moves run to 2. Whenever you trade support and resistance and have a range like this, and you're taking the trade out of the range, typically you're going to see typically you could trade the length of the range. So if we grab the length of the range here and throw it on top, then we're looking for a trade to target 2, and that's pretty much always going to be the case. Basically, the math for target 2 is always going to be basically the length of the the gap in between the breakout trigger and the breakdown trigger. And those are going to be our resistances and supports that we're looking at, taking the pull off of, basically. So typically you see a target 2 move. Lately it's been not as great just because the market's been a little bit slower. With it starting to fire, I could definitely see us pulling a target 2 today if we do get that trade up into above the breakout zone. So really we're just waiting for this to kind of break up, close above, and then we'll be looking for that trade upwards. That's kind of it for Solana. That's what we're looking for. Definitely looking like we're bottoming out here on this nice big flag here forming. So we'll see what ends up happening. Again, if BTC or anything starts to break down today, like it seems like it almost wants to right now, then that'll kind of be just the end of the day. We're really looking for upgrades today. The system's only calling up, so we're not too worried about anything to the downside. All right, let's move on to Ethereum here. So this one will be next. We'll go ahead back to Kubota.com and get our levels here. Ethereum, we got a 0.96% jailbreak trade, so that's pretty good. Jailbreak is it basically just means that the daily resistance is going to be below the breakout trigger, and that's better in terms of which trade it. If you're looking at the magnet trade, which means that it's on the outside or above the break resistance is above the breakout trigger, that would be our magnet trade. And basically that just means that that's just called that because price action typically will kind of run to wherever the daily resistance is if it's above there. If it's below, though, there's no real zones above. So basically the idea is it's like a jailbreak. There's nothing really holding the chart back once it breaks out of the breakout range. So you get that breakout and then you just have free roam to run. There's no walls or anything around. You can just keep going. Is the idea. So typically you'll see a little bit longer of a trade whenever you get a jailbreak. Typically you might, well, when the market's good, you'll see stuff like target 3, possibly even 4 or 5, possibly 6 even, just longer targets. So ideally we would like to see breakout trades typically. Doesn't mean you can't trade if it's a magnet, obviously. It's still just as good. Sometimes magnets are even better. It's just you know, in terms of, I guess, profit and stuff, the jailbreak trades are typically better. So we're going to go ahead and grab our data here, though, and go set it up on the chart. Again, no downside for Ethereum. That doesn't mean that we can't go down at all. It just means that the probability is that we are going to fire to the upside here, and we'll have a pretty decent trade. So we'll go ahead and head back here to Ethereum, our Ethereum chart here in TradingView, and we're going to paste our new levels in there. And this is what we're looking at. We're actually already out of the bottom of the range, so kind of interesting here on Ethereum. Already came down, hit that bottom daily resistance, or daily support, sorry. So kind of interesting, yeah, that we're doing that. Typically that's not something you see throughout the day. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening today with that. Yeah, let's go ahead and get our trade set up here as well. So we'll head back to Kubota.com, open up our, click on lock target, open up our cockpit for Ethereum here, copy the trade, and we're gonna go back to Ethereum and paste it in there. All right, so this is our levels for today. So wow. Okay, so Ethereum, honestly, Ethereum is not looking too great on the upside. Even though we have a decent upside trade, in terms of how the chart is kind of laid out within those lines, it's not looking too great. And what I mean by that is typically when you trade a support and resistance zone, you're going to want to see price action kind of stay above 50% majority of the time, and you don't want to see a 3 candle close below it. So if we draw our fib lines on here, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my fib lines that are within the levels there. There we go. So you can see I have my 0.5 here right at the daily resistance, pretty close. And if you look at the majority of, since our box has kind of been created, so that would be not quite this far back, but I mean, if we just drew the whole thing, if you're looking at support and resistance here, and you're kind of looking at this, I believe is the start, and then the end is down here somewhere. Regardless, basically that's kind of our range. So we got our high here and then our low here, and that's what the range is based off of. If you look at how much time the overall within that box, how much time is the chart price action below 50%, and that'll kind of tell you, well, if it's below majority of the time, then we're actually going to go down. And that's just the basics of trading like this. If you're above it most of the time, you're typically going to run to the upside. So it's not to say we can't come back in here, break, and get flipped to the upside and then break out. But typically when you see that breakdown like that, and then you see 3 candle closes below, you're going to continue down. So right now we're actually technically at 3 candle closes below. We got to close below here, and then we kind of came up and closed right on the line. So overall I'd probably say this is 1, 2. We're waiting on that third one. I guess we haven't closed this one, so technically it's just 1 close for right now. We got the other candle open and it's kind of fighting there. So if we can get, if this candle closes below and then the next one closes below, we'll be looking for probably more downside risk here. Solana is kind of firing out to the downside as well. Not below its line though yet. Bitcoin's actually trying to break down too. So I don't know. Overall, we're looking for that upside. How soon is it going to come? That's probably the better question. And I don't know. Could not even come today. We could be sitting around here waiting for this all day, and it never happens. You know, it's just really. Excuse me. It's really a matter of, yeah, just do we break out? Do we not break out? If we're really waiting for price action to come back up and break that breakout line. If it doesn't want to do that, then it's just a sit back and relax day. Unfortunately, again, it is looking pretty nice. It's set up pretty nice today. But if we're not going to get that breakout, we're not going to get that breakout. No sense in forcing it, and there's no downside trades either, so it's not like we're looking for a downside something, you know. We'll see how it does. We kind of want to hold BTC. We want to hold this 15,200 right here, or our daily support line, or not daily support, our breakdown line here. Want to hold that. We'll hold this support zone really. If you look at Solana, same thing. We want to hold that. Really, this blue and green support zone here, as well as holding our daily support slash breakdown trigger. And Ethereum, we want to just really hold our daily support, and then we really want to break back up and get it back into our zone here in between the two triggers. We'll see what will happen though. It is kind of some weird price action today, like I was saying. Yeah. Just, yeah, not a whole lot, honestly, going on today. In terms of we don't get the up move, we'll be just kind of sitting around for most of the day. And it's not looking like it's going to be too soon if we do get that up move. It's looking like it's going to be a little later in the day, you know, maybe happen a little later. Overall, the indicators are kind of calling this the bottom here, so pretty good for in terms of that. Not too great in terms of divergence. We don't have any divergence down here, so not telling us we're gonna flip here. We don't really have any divergence though for the other side either, so you know, like basically we don't have divergence telling us we're gonna continue downwards either, so possible that this is a bottom. Typically when you're looking at indicators though, they could be a little quick, so maybe it's calling the bottom, but we might get a little bit more of a run down here before that happens. 69,950. Pretty far down there. Yeah, I would say same Spirit Maker. TA does make it look like if we do get that push up, it's gonna be later today. Definitely not happening anytime we would be live, I guess, if we stayed on even for another 30-40 minutes. Still, I mean, it'd probably be couple hours, I would think. Yeah, definitely later in the day. Definitely a check it out later. Yeah, I'm thinking that daily support is a pretty strong level on all three, really. It is a pretty strong level. Maybe Ethereum not as much. I must not actually have the, I don't have the indicator on there for there we go. Yeah, there is some support there. Yeah, so pretty strong level on all three, actually. It's not that we can't break down. It's just it's not very likely to break down, I guess, based off of how everything's setting up. So we're definitely gonna have to just pay attention, see what happens, watch the trade throughout the day. Like I said, no downside today, so if it does end up breaking down, you know, it's just a good time to kind of sit back, relax, wait for a better trade, possibly coming in tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see what happens, really. Yeah, I mean, we're waiting for that breakout trade on Solana and Ethereum. We'll draw the trade on here on Ethereum as well. So that's kind of Ethereum's trade there. Honestly, you could probably pull this up a little bit more like that if you were, depending on how the trade kind of plays out. Maybe play off of the 30-minute high instead of the 30-minute low. Kind of depends. BTC finding a bottom right now. Yep, I agree. That's what the indicators are kind of saying. That's what we were kind of talking about. We're real low on this one. I guess it kind of happened afterwards, but I don't know. It's pretty close to the point. So I would probably say we basically are trying to find a bottom right here. 15-minute looks like we're building out that left shoulder. Yeah, I could see it. We were kind of building a nice little, you know, cup and handle, and then now we're kind of jumping down. Maybe you're saying, probably talking about this here, that being the neckline. You got your right shoulder or left shoulder, and then your head, then right shoulder, and then we'll break out. So we'll see. Definitely a possibility here. We'll see what happens. Like I said, we do need to hold this line, or hold pretty close to this line to kind of get that reversal. We're just waiting for it to break up. Yeah, left and then head, and then now we're waiting for that right shoulder coming in. If we get that, then we'll be looking for the move upwards. Yeah, essentially, yeah, we just want to see price action kind of churn here and show us some strength that it's going to come back up into the range and then break through that breakout trigger and take us to the upside. And, you know, less likely, I guess, on Bitcoin because of just based off the system. Solana and Ethereum are more likely to do that. And then I'm guessing if those two do that, then, you know, Bitcoin's probably going to follow suit. So all three of them most likely are going to have that flip and run up to the upside. So, yeah, who knows? We'll see. Again, another short live, I guess. Nothing too crazy, nothing exciting really to talk about besides just, yeah, that will most likely fire. Just might be later in the day in terms of kind of watching it. So, yeah. Sol and Ether holding as BTC is bleeding. Yeah, they're trying to hold their lines here. They're kind of holding BTC back a little bit. So, and the way that they work a lot of times is you'll see some good volatility maybe to the side that you think it's going to go. Like obviously, well, obviously we want it to go up, but you might be looking and be like, oh man, there's a lot of volatility to the downside with Sol and ETH. And a lot of times you'll see them kind of dump out or fire up or whatever it is with BTC, and then they'll actually all of a sudden flip and start to show like resistance, and BTC is still trying to run down or whatever, but Sol and ETH are kind of showing that resistance, and then they'll flip to the upside, and BTC will kind of just follow both of them upwards, or both of them into the trade that you're actually on. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Again, we'll see what happens, but as of right now, we're just in waiting period. We're just kind of waiting for price to get back up and break that top there. Definitely be looking at Solana later in today. Possibly looking at an ETH trade as well. Solana's ripping up, so ETH will be as well. So yeah, it could be a pretty good trading day. There could be an uptrade on BTC too, but again, the system's not calling it, so we're not looking to take it. This yellow line just screwed me up. Thought that was my 200 for a second. I was like, oh, I have two 200s, but they're completely different. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Within the next 2 hours, could see us firing. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. If we hold this 200 here, it could be pretty soon. This could be our bottom candle right here. It's just, you know, it's too early to tell. So we'll definitely have to watch. Just make sure you keep an eye on your charts today. Could be happening soon. Could be happening later. If you're kind of wanting to walk away, I guess you could throw a line on here and then use the alert system to basically, whenever that line gets crossed, you could say, all right, tell me to get in. But you know, that's only if you wanted to walk away from your computer. That's an easy way to get yourself alerted. Just make sure you have it on your phone, I guess, that you'll get alerts. Or you have your computer loud enough that you can hear it in the other room or whatever. Yeah, so like I said, nothing too crazy today, just a lot of sideways price action, and then maybe a possible up move if we get a little flip up. So that's what we're hoping for, but until then, we'll just have to see. So yeah, thanks for joining the live stream. Yeah, make sure you keep an eye on that trade. We have video coming out at 10. Again, we got our audio fixed. Everything's ready to go, so there'll be that video at 10. Make sure you check that out. We'll be going over yesterday, kind of talking about some different TA things as well. So you'll just have to, yeah, check it out, see how it's going. Yeah, see what you think of our video. Let us know in the comments if you guys would like to see anything in those videos. But yeah, it's pretty good watch. Street Maker makes those for us, so go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested in it. Yeah, and if you guys like our live stream, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys aren't already subscribed, and hit that bell notification. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for keeping the channel up and running. And yeah, we will catch you all next Tuesday, hopefully to talk about this winning trade we take today. But even still, if not, we'll be here Tuesday 8:30 a.m. CST, so make sure you all join us if you guys are able. Should be a good time. Hopefully this next week's looking a little bit better than it has been, with us firing up. What was that, Tuesday? We fired up, and yeah, they just look pretty good in the market. We're sitting above a nice level on the longer time frames. So you can see our 50% level here that we have on there. We're actually sitting pretty much right on top of it. So what we want to see is a nice hold that line, and then we'll be I don't know why it's all messed up, but basically if we can hold that line, then we'll see BTC kind of start to fire up and hopefully continue up through here. So yeah, only time will tell. We'll just have to keep watching, keep taking the daily trades, and yeah, keep doing the lives. So again, thanks for coming. Happy trading to y'all, and we will catch y'all next Tuesday.